Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Wednesday the 27th of September and there has been some moves in US market yesterday, also the Europeans for that matter, but let's start with the S&P 500 as usual, below support at 43.28. Bearish, very bearish at the moment, shoulder head shoulder pattern unfolding. We have no support until around 4200, 4170 around here at this consolidation area here, and 61.8 projection of the top to bottom of the shoulder head shoulder pattern. So around that level we could see here in the coming days or weeks, where S&P is likely to be headed. Bearish on the RSI, same picture on the weekly chart. That is really interesting. If we are closing below that support level, which it seems like at the moment, then it's really turning bearish. Same picture on a Nasdaq, support at 14,254, around that level. It's not the strongest support, however, and we could see in coming days Nasdaq dropping lower to around 13,500, 600 level, where we'll see some support. We also have the 200 moving average coming up. We are in a bearish mode on all indices, short and medium term. Dow Jones, we don't talk about that much, but Dow Jones closed more or less bang on the support at 33,610. But it has also turned bearish on the medium term. We just need a confirmation on the RSI, which we haven't had yet, but moving lower seems to be in a card. We have a negative sentiment also on the daily. In Europe, we are bouncing a little bit today on the DAX, but it is in a bearish trend. We could see a little bit of bounce in the next couple of days, possibly, but we are in a bearish trend. We have the 100, the 55 and 21 moving average pointing lower. We are negative on the RSI. Same picture on the weekly, unless we can close back above 15,483. We are medium term also in a negative trend or bearish trend medium term. AX bouncing a little bit this morning, touching the 720 yesterday, could bounce a little bit towards the 730, but the trend is down on all time horizons, but it won't be without a battle. But what we can see here also, the moving average is declining. The 200 is more or less flat, but will slowly start turning over. And if these two moving averages are dropping below the 200 moving average, and when they are all declining, then that could be really spell some trouble for AEX. The Belgian market also closed below 35.55 yesterday in a downtrend, a little bit stressed short term, so we could see a bounce back above this level here, but we are in a downtrend, and we can also see on the medium term we are in a downtrend on the medium term. CAC 40 dancing around the 7,082, just below the 7,100. So what we can do also, we can let's just move this one. Is not useful at the moment, so it seems like this bias came in around here, trying to lift it a little bit. Of the European market, it seems to be the strongest for now, at least. So a little bit bounce higher we could see, but we are still in a bearish trend. And as we can see here also on the weekly, it broke below the lower rising trend line. But it's still holding on fairly nicely, but I think it will also give way fairly soon. But what is interesting is these moving averages here, they are still rising, whereas on the other market they were more or less all declining. Moving on to FX, euro dollar downtrend, really stressed, but as you can see here, there's no divergence on the RSI, moving lower, testing this lower falling trend line in this channel-like pattern here it's creating, and it seems like we are looking at 105 level, which is a very strong key support. We can also see here on the weekly, very strong support area where all this will be totally demolished or cancelled out. And I think we will reach there. I mean, we need a bit of a correction, but again, the trend is down, so a correction is likely to just be fairly limited. Euro sterling having trouble at the 87, but still has potential higher, but it seems to be struggling a little bit. Cable. Let's move this one a little bit so it's easier to see. We can see it's still moving lower here, but it's really stretched. We are below 20 on the RSI. That is very extreme, but it could be more extreme. I think we will see a short-term bounce eventually, but the trend is down towards 120. But it has been really stretched. I do believe we will see buyers coming in, lifting it a little bit here next couple of days. But the overall trend, both medium term and short term, is down. The yen pairs are fairly quiet. We have dollar yen still struggling at this 149.20 level here, which is the 1618 projection. It has potential to go higher, but it's as we can see here on the weekly chart, there's not really any strong resistance. There's no divergence on the RSI on the weekly. There is on the daily, so it is a little bit stressed. It's struggling a little bit, I would say, for further up. So maybe we need a little bit of correction down before the next move up. Euro yen still sideways trading. Aussie yen also struggling at the 95.85. We are in an uptrend, but it is quite weak. It seems like it can't really get upside momentum, and the 95.85 is really a strong resistance. Sterling yen, on the other hand, very close to testing 180.20 around this level, where we have some strong support. We have the 100 moving coming up, so I expect a little bit of bounce there. If it drops below, closes below, well, then we are looking at 176.25 around that level. Moving on to the Aussie dollar. Seems to be, and I think we should remove this one because it doesn't really matter. This double bottom is not a double bottom anymore. I mean, it could maybe turn into a triple bottom unless it really takes out the 63, 64 levels at this level, these lows here, if it takes out that. And looking at the RSI, it does look like we should do that. And we also have the moving average, all of them declining, kind of telling us that the underlying sentiment is bearish. So there is room down to, if we take out these lows here, which I believe we are looking at 61.85, these lows here back from Q4 last year. Finally, the dollar index broken above 105.80, which was a fairly strong resistant level, but we are in a very strong uptrend. All moving averages pointing higher. Medium term, as you can see here, very strong resistance, but we are above the 60 on the RSI. Looking at the daily, as we can see, we have it's broken above its upper falling trend line, and it's flirting with this dashed line. If it breaks above and closes above the dashed line, then this divergence on the RSI, the imbalance, has been cancelled, and we are in for higher levels. But I think we are struggling a little bit. It is really stretched, but I'm not saying we can't move higher, and we have closed above, so there should be more upside potential there. Interesting move on the gold spot yesterday. It actually broke below the support here at 1903. So now we are in a bearish trend. 1870 is the key support. We could drop to that. We also have the 155 moving average coming down, kind of indicating we will move lower. Also, we had the RSI below the 40 level. So indicating that we will see lower lows on the gold, at least short term. If it takes out these lows over here, around 1889, 8084, then we are in a confirmed downtrend, and that will also confirm downtrend on the medium term, which is quite interesting. However, we have the 55 and 100 moving average coming up, giving some support, and we are still having the RSI still above 40, so it's still in a bullish sentiment or a positive sentiment despite the divergence here. So really key here the next couple of days, I believe. Silver back to, lower, and I think we will see it down to around 22 here the next couple of days. Copper really weak, again finding support at these 362.70. Maybe a little bit of bounce in the next couple of days, but I think we'll move lower towards 356. We have Brent crude oil and WTI bouncing and seems to be resuming uptrend, and we didn't really correct to 38.2, so that is a very minor correction really. And if we're moving higher, we can see Brent has room up to 99.56 where until we see some resistance. WTI, if it takes out the 93.75, and it seems like it's on its way to it. It almost corrected at 38.2, but if it takes out 93.75, then we are looking at $100. And moving on to finally the US 10-year, which reached the 161.8 projection at 4.55, overshooting a little bit. I think we will see a little bit of a correction lower here the next couple of days, possibly down to around the 4.40 level, but we are in an uptrend, both short term and medium term. That's all for today. Thank you very much for listening. Talk to you again tomorrow, and have a nice day.